Well, Steve, to follow up on that, I really want to emphasize protect your best features. One of the things that we've found through the years as we interact with a staff, an existing staff, it could be public, private, resort, whatever, is start to ask questions on what are your favorite holes? What are your least favorite holes? What aspects, how is this golf course thought of? What do people like about it? They have great par threes, is it great trees, great conditioning? What's your brand? And I think that's important to protect that. Many architects have come in and just want to redo everything, and I think it's important to build that teamwork and that communication to really protect what's best and play off of that. And if you do that, and that one simple question, I mean, we've had examples where there's been 7, 8, 9 holes that they've really liked, and we've played off of that and protected those. We've had places where there's been 1 hole. So you really need to know what the history has been to make good decisions going forward.
Well, next we want to just give a few hints on how to assemble your team. And if you look at the process of a master plan, okay, you've completed a master plan. Now you want to try and get your membership or get your city council or whoever that may be to approve the plan and to give you the go-ahead to start the improvements. In the private sector, you really want to create a long-range planning committee. And this needs to be a cross-section of your membership, a very broad cross-section. Older members, younger members, good players, not so good players, women, maybe throw a tennis player in there just to get perspective. And this could come from your board, your green committee, influential members, past presidents, and certainly should include your staff, golf professional, superintendent, general manager. Very important to have a broad spectrum, a cross-section of your membership so that when the document is presented to the membership, it is presented by a committee that represents your membership. The public sector, your staff is probably going to be the most important. They're going to be the ones that are going to do the work. You might also have a park and rec director or assistant director, city manager or assistant city manager involved. And some may see a benefit of having a golf advisory committee to review the information and add comment as you go through the process. In both arenas, strong flag bearers are a must. The folks that you choose for your committee need to be respected within the club or within the city, and they need to be have thick skin, wouldn't you say, DA? Because they're going to take a little potential abuse and a few slings and arrows along the way.
Steve, I agree, and it's been our experience that it's not a good idea to have the golf course design team come in necessarily and be put in front of a group, public, private, resort, whatever, to try to sell the project, because it can be perceived that they just want another job. It's getting back to the leadership, it's our job to look at all the aspects and go through the whole process. Many times we're put in a position, even in front of say a private club board, and the members are tuned in to know that they want better fairway conditions. And so the question might be, what do we do? Do we resprig? Do we resod? How our fairways get better? And so they may have 2 or 3 different ideas. Well, once again, it's our job to take them through this journey to look at everything else. It's really kind of like an audit of your property, and it's evaluation. And it can be looked at, whatever investment of a master plan can be like an insurance policy. And so when you get all the information, everything begins to fall in place as far as what features and where and when and for how much. And if you go through this roadmap, you'll come down to that right decision, and then you can educate the group to get up in front of their city council or their membership or their owner to discuss these intelligently, and then the design team is there to support and answer questions. So If you shortcut it, and we've seen clubs shortcut this process and get to their members and not having all the answers, and things don't go well. So if you can go on that journey and fill in those gaps. I mean, we've done that here as a company. For example, we've just gone through this process to identify who we are and what we're doing. And the one thing that has been very clear for us, we've come up with a tag that represents our company, is every aspect considered, new golf memories delivered. And that kind of describes what considered as a great idea when you're looking at master plans. So I think that kind of wraps up the end of our first webinar. We have now opened up for some questions. Please make note of the screen. It was May 18th at 2 p.m. Central Time. Steve, do we have some questions there have come in?
Yes, we do. Question is, under ideal conditions, how long will a USGA spec green last? And I actually think there's some USGA folks listening online today. They're probably better equipped to answer this question than me, but it's 25 to 30 years, but I would have to say that most of the time greens don't last their intended lifespan because of human error. And I think if they're taken care of properly, I don't know a reason why they wouldn't last more than 30 years. The key is if they're taken care of properly.
Right. And there are terrific old push-up greens that serve a good purpose. Many of those, have a fair amount of contour, so they drain properly, and whatever you might look at regrassing. Once again, every situation is different. And I think that has to be evaluated by the total team and looked at for all the aspects we talked about, especially from the agronomic side. One thing I've got a question here. We've got a few people have asked about past projects that we've dealt with, and there's a motivation for every master plan. We have found that some of the clubs that we started with a long time ago, we've been in business almost 25 years, we're in the third master plan with a few clubs. And they may have had a 10 or a 5-year plan. And after we finished a major renovation, 2 years later, they were ready to reestablish some other priorities as time moves on. They were working with their committees to do this, and they found a footprint. Those are the clubs that have seemed to plan ahead and do very well. But some of the examples of clubs that we've dealt with, a tournament venue where they want a little more pizzazz, they want a little more flash. It's going to be on television. Its gallery needs, traffic flow, a balance of not only for the tournament, but how's the golf course going to play for the members. We always talk about turn the volume up or turn the volume down in the design. If you have enough options, you can do that. We've had clubs talk about wanting new, younger members. Well, some of the practice area ideas we talked about, and maybe some of the variety of tees. Certainly, a playable golf course helps. But through the years, it's anywhere from pace of play, too difficult, not long enough, need more tee variety, need more real estate. One of the issues that we deal with in North Texas an awful lot is flooding. And how can you get a golf course built in the floodplain that's very flat, that's meant to take water? How can you get that up and running? And so, as Steve said before, it's a matter of lifting fairways and getting water off the playing areas into basins and allowing them to recover. And if you're losing 50 or 60 days a year because of wet conditions or flooding, and you can reduce that to single digits, you can see how your revenue, especially on a daily fee golf course, will improve.